Okay, and now you're ready to count down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
You're still in master beta.
When I talk, when you're asking me questions, do I look into this camera? Or
It's
do
up
I
to the
look?
director. It's up to him.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I noticed he started looking into this
Yeah,
camera.
I mean, if you want to talk to the people at home, you look at the camera. If you want to talk to Michael, you talk to Michael.
Okay. Let's do a countdown.
Okay, you want to start again? Okay.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, and welcome to the Michael Thomas Show. Today with me, your host, Michael Thomas. And I've actually got a great health guru as my guest today. I've got Renjit, and he is going to share with us all some wonderful things about health and wellness, because we all need to have better health and wellness each and every day. We don't want to just think about health and wellness. We want to live health and wellness. And since you are the health and wellness guru,
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother.
hey, you definitely are a health and wellness guru. So I definitely want to make sure that you're able to provide some great information for a lot of the people who are possibly wanting to learn more about health and wellness. So what would you say are some great health and wellness tips that you'd like to pass on? Why is health and wellness such a passion for you?
Well, I think it comes down to the fact that we should be responsible for our own wellness or health. And that involves both mental and physical health. And I find that people that are in control of their physical health or have the ability, not everybody has the ability because of circumstances of life or circumstances of the way they were born or the way they are, but everybody has a chance to be a little bit more in charge of their own physical destiny. And the primary reason is happiness. I mean, it's the quality of your life is vastly better when you are feeling good. And that means very simply without pain. If the less pain you have, the better you feel. And even the nicest, most courteous people that I know, when they're in pain, are not so nice or courteous. And it's not they might not realize it, but their family and friends tell them that.
Right. So I guess all in all, you think that health and wellness, it helps a person to have a better outlook and to actually really have some better results in terms of their life,
how
they
think
can interact with others.
I think what we were trying to do is define what health and wellness is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What is health and wellness? It's a very good question. It's a difficult question to answer. But for me, and I can only speak from my experience, I kind of see my job as looking, feeling, and functioning my best continually every day. And that is my job. That is my job. And I think if more people could make that their profession, or in the sense of, or make that their life without it being their profession, the better they would do. And I'm not saying it's very easy. I think the way the system is currently, from preschool to postgraduate, we study the mind.
Right.
From preschool to postgraduate, there's no structured setting to learn the human body, meaning that children know more about their toys than they know about their own bodies. They don't know what a bicep is or a tricep or what their stomach does or their diaphragm. And all of these things that are within the human body, people or children don't know. And if we can teach children or teach folks about the human body, then the better chance that they are going to be able to do something. For example, if preschool to postgraduate, no one learned mathematics,
Right.
and all of a sudden at 35 you had to learn math, you're going to hire someone to give you one-on-one tutoring
Right.
to help you catch up, because math is all of a sudden you realize math is very important in your life. How else are you going to, have income or keep track of income, right? And same thing with wellness. If you have not been taught this from preschool to postgraduate, why would you consider it important? And then all of a sudden you're 35, and then because you didn't have this base knowledge of education, how are you going to catch up? And so, folks like me exist to help people that are, looking to learn one-on-one, to help them catch up to a base level or an increased level of wellness. They hire someone like me.
So do you think that people's increased health and wellness actually will help them to have like a greater life, to help increase their life expectancy and things of that nature?
Well, let me speak to somebody that's not feeling well today, or let me speak to somebody whose life isn't going well. Well, the longer you live, the better chance that your life is going to turn around.
Right.
Right? Because a lot of times people live ahead of their time. People are ahead of their time. Why should we fault them for it? They're ahead of their time. And because they're ahead of their time, they're always they're going faster. Sometimes you just have to slow down and let time catch up. In order for that to happen, sometimes maybe you have to live a little bit longer than the rest. Mm-hmm. In order for your viewpoint or the way you feel or believe can be truly accepted. There are many people with many, look, the world is absurd. Can I give you an example of that?
Certainly.
If I were to ask you that stereotypically, what were women told that they were very good at doing?
They were told that they were good in the kitchen. They were told that, they were good at maybe shopping, and they were good at cleaning. They were good at
childbirth or raising.
Right.
Okay, but the first thing that you mentioned is that they were good in the kitchen, right? And generation after generation, centuries after centuries, women were told that they were excellent in the kitchen.
Yes.
And if I asked you today who the best chefs in the world are, who are they?
I guess some of the best chefs today would happen to be some of the men.
Are men. So how can a woman who has been told generation after generation that what she is really, really good at is being in the kitchen and cooking, going to think that she has a chance when the best in the world in that profession that she was supposed to be tailored for is not a woman? So in fact, the world will never change until the best chefs in this world are considered women.
That's a good point of thought there, because I think a lot of times it will take some time where the world would have to change in order for women to really be like, okay, well, they tell me I'm this, they tell me I'm that.
If you're not good at the thing that they tell you you're supposed to be good at,
right,
then what chance do you have?
It's like you're lacking behind. Yeah, you're lacking, you're running behind. And
so now if that applies to women, it can apply to all other backgrounds or types of people.
True. So what do you think, do you think a lot of doctors should do some things to kind of be proactive to maybe help encourage their patients to be more healthy, or some things?
I think doctors should first set the example for themselves. Because, being South Asian, I know a lot of physicians, family, friends, neighbors. And I can say that some of them are some of the most unhealthy people that I know in the sense of preventative care. So physicians, just like anyone else, need help because they work so much in trying to solve issues that they don't have, like anyone else, they don't have time for themselves. In fact, hospitals should have programming that makes it easy for physicians to be treated at the hospital. Okay. The higher end practices these days have massage therapists and exercise instructors on staff to provide training and teaching for physicians who lack the time. I have friends that are when they were in residency, they were doing 120-hour surgical shifts, and the only thing that they could eat was from a vending machine.
Wow.
So if you have,
That's definitely not real
yeah,
healthy.
it's not. It's so. I know now these friends that have their own practices
Right.
have brought in outside consultants, wellness consultants, to make sure that the nutrition that's within their practice is on point, making sure that their recovery or massage on premise is on point, and making sure that their stimulus or exercise on premise is on point. And that's what I do as a wellness consultant, is to go into businesses and transform businesses so that wellness is on point on the premise. And as a wellness consultant, I also work with folks that make a living off their bodies. If you're if you're a musician and you're spending more time worrying about how to be in this position rather than playing your instrument, you're not going to be as good of a musician as you want to be.
Right.
So you want to make sure that your body is functioning without pain, without any issue, so that when you need to play something, you're focused on the music and not your position.
Right. So do you think that a lot of times that it's people who are not necessarily getting good information at times, maybe like even from some of the stuff you see on TV, because it's always the latest and greatest thing. It's plenty of infomercials. It's plenty of, even I'd say, doctors who get stuff just
I don't knock
kickbacks even
I
off
don't
of
knock
stuff.
anybody that is trying to make income. I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. Anyone, don't be a hater. No, anyone that's trying to make income, I think they should have that ability to do so. I just think that there are base things that can be done that doesn't require any extra expense. Right? Our country, in the sense of science education, is lagging behind the rest of the world. So, shouldn't we increase the level of knowledge that our children have in the biological sciences,
Yeah.
in the mathematical sciences?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, if we can help schools teach our children a greater level of sciences so that we can compete with the rest of the world, I think that would be a good thing. So it's not like we're changing the system, we're just helping make the system function a little bit easier because we can do it. It's not like we don't know how to do it.
Right.
We know, like Whitney Houston was singing about the children are the future. And if we don't know that by now, come on now.
Well, if we don't realize the children are the future, then, I mean, I think it does make a huge area that we miss. It makes a huge area that needs to still be touched upon and really needs to be fully appreciated. And I think that we really do have to consider how our future is going to be affected by the future generations. So how do you think some things, like as far as like some programs that you've got in mind, could be implemented into some of the local schools, or to even if you started locally and then were able to expand it upon a region, maybe even to like the county?
I think the simplest way to help kids initially is to teach them anatomy and physiology at a younger age, because it gives them a reason to be aware of what it is that they're functioning with. Because if we start teaching kids about the human body at a younger age, we start teaching our children to be physicians at a younger age. I guarantee you more kids would become doctors if they knew anatomy from kindergarten on. And there would be more doctors, physicians, that go into preventative medicine. Right? Trust me, I have friends that are surgeons. God bless them. We need them. We need our doctors. If something happens to you, if these folks were not there, we would be in quite a bit of trouble.
Right.
But saying that, let's help these people that deal with these emergencies, these situations. Let's help them out by making sure that we can take care of our own health until we need them. Let's not rely on medicines. Let's not rely on companies. Let's rely on ourselves to take care of our own health.
That'll make a big difference by relying on ourselves. It does make us more self-sufficient. It does help us to not...
Self-sufficiency is a thing that you talk about regularly, and that is... And it's not... Hey, look, I'm no magic person. I have things that I need help with, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, I can only speak about the thing that I am good at.
Right.
And I do that for myself. And the things that I'm not good at, I'm going to try to get help from people to help me do the things I'm not so good at. But I can admit that I'm not good at these things, you know? And so for me, I know, and sometimes maybe you don't have to be, you know, it's not a do as I say, not as I do. I really believe that the more awareness of you that you have of yourself and your system, the better you're able to take care of yourself, just like anything else.
Yeah, I think that the more aware of yourself, that does make a big difference. I mean, we have to be at least cognizant enough to be able to recognize, like, all right, well, my toe's hurting and it wasn't hurting before.
Excellent. Good point, brother.
My foot is sore and it wasn't sore before. And
yes,
so, like, all right,
this is what I'm talking about.
Why am I not doing anything to change? Why am I not doing anything
this is what
to
I'm,
help
that's
it out?
Self-physical awareness. You have a high degree of physical intelligence, right? People are always talking about academic intelligence. Well, I'll tell you what, some of the most successful people have a high degree of physical intelligence. What does that mean? When you walk into a room, you can assess the situation. That's just not in the mind. You have to read people's body language. That's physical intelligence.
Right.
So in order for you to be a successful human being, you have to have a high degree of physical and mental intelligence. And also that sixth sense of spiritual intelligence, I guess, which I can't quantify it or anything, and nor would I want to.
Yeah, you bring up a whole lot of great points today.
Thank you, brother.
A whole lot of great points.
Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, I appreciate you coming in today for this first part of, I guess, our series of just various information to help keep people informed in general. So definitely, I hope that you have enjoyed this show today and have been informed. Yeah, it's some great things that you need to be aware of in terms of your health, wellness, and just being able to better take care of yourself individually, because each one of us are trying to make sure that we stay healthy, we live a nice long life, and we fulfill all that we're supposed to fulfill in our lives. But I'm your host, Michael Thomas. I hope that you will decide to watch some more of our future programming here on Waycross Media. There's some contact information on screen for you to contact me. 513-214-9601. You can also email thomasIIgroup@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook as Michael R. Thomas II. Once again, thank you to Waycross Media for this time and programming, and we will see you again soon. Have a great one.
Yeah!
Good show. There you go. All right, so now you're on color bars. Mm-hmm. Now you want to start your recorder.
Oh, did we erase the...
No, I did not. It's at the end of it, so
okay.
It's beyond. Okay, and I also have it in the other room, so we're good to go.
Okay,
Okay?
cool.
And then you go to black.
And then when I'm ready, I just start.
Pick your camera.
Okay. And then start.
Whatever, yeah. And then hit the, whenever you want to start, hit that, no, not that one, that one.
Okay. Welcome to Arogium. I am here with Michael Thomas. Good seeing you, Michael. Thank you for
Good to
coming
see you.
in. I
Thank you
really
for having me
appreciate
today.
it. So, Michael is going to tell us a little bit about Reach, right?
Okay. Well, Reach is actually a group that I founded with one of my partners.
It's an acronym, right?
Yes, it is. It is an acronym.
And what does that
It's-
acronym stand for?
Stands for Reaching Everyone Across Cincinnati and Hamilton County. And we actually do a weekly Bible study that we started in January of 2016. And we've been holding these at one of the local halfway houses here in Cincinnati. And we've done weekly Bible studies every week but one since January. And it's allowed us to provide some encouragement as well as some challenging and actually just good information for some people who are transitioning. And they're transitioning from being incarcerated in prison to returning back to society. So that's kind of what they're doing by being in a halfway house.
So, you started this in January of this year.
That's correct.
And what was the reason, or was there an impetus for you to begin Reach?
Yes, it actually was. When I moved back to Cincinnati at the end of 2013,
And where were you living prior to that?
I was
you
living
are
in
you are a
Montgomery.
native. You are from Cincinnati.
yes, I'm a
Roger
Cincinnati
Bacon
native.
High School.
That's right, the Roger Bacon Spartans.
All right, GCL brothers here.
GCL.
brothers, Saint Xavier.
GCL.
All right. So you were in Cincinnati, and then you went to Alabama State,
That's correct.
historically black college,
That's right.
where you studied marketing and
Well, business management.
business
but
management.
I've always had a passion for sales and marketing, and I actually did work in sales and marketing with a billion-dollar company known as Bell Micro Products. We were later purchased by a larger technology company, Avnet Electronics, and at that point, it seemed as though some things changed, but Avnet eventually let me and several other employees go. During that period, I actually did some work for a halfway house down in Montgomery, and so that was my first interaction with
And tell me-
anything at a halfway house.
You know, I'm not really familiar with halfway houses. Call me not aware, but tell me exactly what a halfway house is.
A halfway house generally is a transitional housing setup for people who have been incarcerated, so that they can do some level of transition from being
And is it
incarcerated
at
back
any
to
age,
society.
or is there an age group here, or gender? Or?
Some of them are specifically gender specific, where you may have all males in one, you may have one that's all females in another one. And the one that we're actually doing some work with currently, they have both males as well as females. And they are like, the population is not together, so it is segregated, where the males are in an area and the females are in an area. They have specific times that they go to be able to eat, and they have other things that do separate them for that specific time periods, but also to try and help, I guess, make it somewhat more harmonious, as opposed to having them cohabitating in the same areas.
And so this is how you learn about halfway houses, and this is how, and then you moved back from what part of Alabama, I forgot?
I stayed in Montgomery, Alabama.
So you moved back from Montgomery, Alabama, back to Cincinnati a couple years ago.
Right.
And then January of this year, you had this epiphany that you wanted to, that you remembered your experience, and that you wanted to help the folks here in the area.
We
In Cincinnati and Hamilton County.
Right, we actually had discussed this before, me and Elder Brandon Watkins. I'm actually also an elder. I'm Elder Michael Thomas. Is my ministry
So
title.
another shout out to your other elder. What is his name?
Elder Brandon Watkins.
Elder Brandon Watkins.
Yes.
Thank you, Elder Brandon Watkins.
Yes, he actually has a cooking show that you'll be able to see soon on this station.
I am looking
soon.
forward to seeing this as well. I love
Yes.
cooking.
Yes, but Elder Watkins and we had discussions on some things we could do just to try and connect with people in this area late last year. and the opportunity presented itself for being able to do a Bible study at this specific halfway house. I'm not going to say their name because they didn't get any type of clearance. So this halfway house, they were like, well, we like to have a Bible study. Could you teach a Bible study? Could you teach a Bible study? So they asked us several times, and we were like, you know what? We can make that happen for you. So first Monday of this year, 2016, we actually did a Bible study at this halfway house, and we've done Bible study and done it every single week other than 1 week when I actually got married earlier this year.
Okay. Cincinnati, Hamilton County. This brother is doing something good for this community, and anything we can do to support him, we should do.
Definitely.
So, again, it's reaching everyone across Cincinnati and Hamilton County.
You got it.
Give them your information for me.
All right, so we can be contacted by email at reach.cincinnati.now@gmail. We can also be reached by phone at 513-823-3445. So the email once again is reach.cincinnati.now@gmail.com. And the email, we do check that regularly. And the phone number, 513-823-3445. We actually were using that as more of a prayer request number, but people can also contact us through that number and leave voicemails as well through that number.
So, within this year, tell me a person that you've helped that if you weren't there, they would not have been helped in the same way. And how did that, and helping them and seeing the progress, how did that make you feel? If you would share that with us.
Okay. Well, I had a couple of people that I'm going to just give a little overview on. There was a young man, he was actually from the state of Georgia, that I really would say we were able to impact his life right before he returned back to living in Georgia. He was coming to our Bible studies once we started regularly, and he was very excited about our Bible studies. He was attending every week, and he actually asked me a couple of things on things he should do when he moved back to Georgia, and I gave him some suggestions as far as, like, one, in terms of starting up his business, and two, some things he could do to invest and possibly hold on to his funds and maybe even considering an additional business that he could do. So he was really excited about that, and he really was very much involved and active in our Bible studies each week that he came until he returned back to his home in Georgia. Another person was a young lady who's been involved actually pretty much every week that we've been going down to this location. She's been actively involved, and she's appreciated it a whole lot, and we've talked candidly about different choices, and she's felt very open to just share, like, all right, well, I'm challenged, but you've given me opportunity to look at life differently and to look at some things I can do that can help better me as a person, help better the life of my family members, and even give me motivation even in my workplace and beyond, just to live a much better life.
So now these all sound great, and this is what charities and people that are do-gooders, they all sound great and everything. So tell me, what are some of the practical things that these folks that you're working with learn?
Well, one of the studies we did, we actually taught on the fruit of the Spirit earlier this year. And that is very practical because you want to have something that you can actually show that you actually did in terms of being fruitful in terms of your life and being fruitful to just not just going through life haphazardly. You want to know that there are specific reasons why we're alive. There are great things that we can do and things that we can show to others by actually practicing the fruit of the Spirit. And actually, the fruit of the Spirit is in Galatians chapter 5 and
Preach,
verse
brother.
22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And we taught on that for multiple weeks in terms of the fruit of the Spirit, just to let them know that there are some good things that we can do. And we asked each week, what are some challenges to your being able to show love, to being able to have joy, to being able to have peace? And we really would make it where it's very interactive when we went through this particular series, where myself as well as Elder Watkins and some of the other volunteers who participated with us will really go into some details on, like, we face challenges every day, every week, every hour to walk in the fruit of the Spirit. And I think we got a lot of buy-in from those who participated, because they were able to say, like, okay, yeah, you're being challenged in it. I can understand my own personal challenges in it as a Bible study participant.
So most of these folks that you're dealing with, a lot of them just need someone to hear them.
Right. A lot of times they want somebody to hear them. They wanted somebody to be able to know that somebody actually cared and somebody actually wanted to try and help them look at some ways that they could help change their behaviors.
So now, I'm coming from a practical perspective. Some folks that have been incarcerated, or a lot of folks that have been incarcerated, when they come out of prison, they have a difficult time securing income for themselves.
Right.
Or securing employment.
Right.
Does REACH do anything, or do you provide resources for them to reach out to help them in those situations? And tell me, what are some of the difficulties that these folks face?
Well, we haven't expanded beyond the Bible study portion at this point in terms of with job assistance. There are some programs that they had in that specific halfway house where they did try to help people get work. They did try to help people do different things to better themselves.
So not only do you provide the Bible study, but you also let these folks know about these other programs,
right,
to help them deal with the practical realities of being incarcerated. Because you hear folks that have been in prison for years come out and they feel lost in society.
Right, because there are some programs that are beyond not even just their halfway house facility. There were some that we did mention. I believe I'm at liberty to mention CityLink being one, and then also the Ohio Means Jobs program being another program that we made mention of, that I think that some of the residents that may have used, and then even using free resources like the library to be able to go do further research on either career possibilities and being able to surf the internet to use the web to do job searches as well. So those were a couple of things that we tried to do to be very practical to assist some of the residents that we taught Bible study to. We actually had, I want to say, about 7 different churches who had some level of role in working with REACH in our time. I'm gonna give out a shout out to my church as well as
give a shout out.
Church.
Yeah, because look, we're here to allow you to tell the good things that not only you are doing, but the people that you're surrounded by that are doing. And half the battle is just letting people know what the good works that people are doing, and getting support, because you guys are volunteering your time. We're trying to get the community, Cincinnati and Hamilton County, to reach out to help anybody that, well, specifically here REACH, because first thing that we can do is maybe increase the amount of people in your Bible study, or to bring some folks on that'll help in some of the halfway houses that you're working in. And then go ahead and give a shout out to those other folks that you were.
Definitely. Elder Watkins, he's a part of Victory Deliverance Ministries, which is in Roseline. Let's see. We've had participants that help from, oh my gosh, House of Hope, which is in downtown Cincinnati. Actually, one of the residents joined in that ministry. I'm not sure if she joined under Watch Care, but she joined that ministry and has regularly been going to their services. We've had participants that have assisted from Inspirational Baptist Church, and we've had several other ministries. The Vineyard had a member that's been active as well, and so it has been a combination of multiple churches that have been involved. There's 2 other churches, I can't think of their names right now, that have been involved, but
My father is, I'll mention this to my father. I don't know. He's one of these volunteer chaplains, pastoral care volunteers. So
cool.
I think he would be interested in learning this because I think he also wanted to work with incarcerated folks. My mom and I were scared, but he also wants to work with incarcerated folks. So I think my dad is a man with a very good heart, and if he
Right.
wants to work in this field, it must be something that is of value. So I
Right.
appreciate you coming on
Thank
and
you for
sharing
having me.
sharing
Thank
your
you for having me.
experience. It's something that obviously I'm going to go home today and speak with my family about, and all the learning that we did today. And I want to thank you for all of your help, and thank you from the city of Cincinnati and the county of Hamilton County
Thank
to
you.
coming in here and sharing your experience.
Thank you. I would like to leave everybody with one scripture.
All right, one
because-
moment. Let us listen to this brother preach.
No, I'm not going to preach. I'm not going to tune up.
No,
or
you're going to
anything like
share scripture, please.
that. But this is what reaches basically our founding scripture. Acts chapter 1, verse 8. But ye shall receive power after the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. With Reach, we are trying to reach everyone across Cincinnati and Hamilton County. We've had people in our Bible studies that are African American, Caucasian, Latino, Asian, and we try and reach all people. Hopefully some of our future locations will allow us to be involved in orphanages as well as the juvenile system. So it's a couple of things that we're looking to do to expand our outreach. At this point, we have not secured our 501c3, so we're not seeking funds yet. At some point, once we do further that, then we might possibly seek additional funds, but we would definitely like to continue doing our outreach, and we definitely appreciate prayers as well as additional volunteers.
Thank you, brother. We look forward to seeing your good works. And to the rest of you out there, we look forward to having you join us again. Enjoy your day. Oh, stressful. I got a blue screen on there.
Hit stop
What is that?
on the record. You hit the blue screen on the one thing when you were switching.
I hit this one right here.
Yeah, because I was one that didn't have a camera on it.
Yeah, no. Thank you very much.
Man, no problem.